Hey, this is Dylan Andrews with eartrainingforguitar.com, and in this video I want to go through how ear training is not nearly as hard as how people make it out to be, and it actually can be a pretty easy and simple process to go through to develop a really highly trained ear. So in this video I want to go through what people do to make ear training difficult, and then I want to go through things that you can do to train your ear and how simple really getting a highly developed ear is. All right, but before I go through all of that, if you could do me a huge favor and please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. I am bringing out videos almost every single week on how to train your ear and become the musician that you want to become. All right, so I'm trying to get this video out to as many people as possible, so if you could like this video and subscribe, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So first off, one of the reasons that I see people really struggle with ear training and have a hard time is it seems that almost everyone is teaching ear training in the exact same slow, boring, and outdated way. And this is the way that I started first learning how to train my ear, and it took me forever to actually get anywhere. And one of the first things that people will have you do is try to identify intervals in isolation. So if you download like an ear training app, or you listen to most teachers in this area of ear training, is they will play like a second interval, a third interval, a flat 3, a flat 2, whatever, and you're trying to just memorize how it sounds and you're trying to guess what those intervals are. All right, and one way that they'll tell you on how to do this is to relate intervals to songs. Like for instance, a 1 to a flat 2 is like the Jaws theme song. 1 to 5 is Star Wars. 1 to 4 is the wedding song. And the problem with doing this is that this only works in isolation. And what I mean by isolation is if you were to play a 1 to a 5, like for instance in the key of C, this would be a C note and then a G note. If you played it in isolation, just those two notes, no other chords or anything going around it, it is going to sound like Star Wars. But if you start adding other chords, if you start adding other notes before and after that, that fifth interval is no longer going to sound like Star Wars. It's the same with anything. A minor second interval, that's not going to sound like Jaws unless you play it in a very specific way. So if you spend a lot of your time memorizing how intervals sound in isolation, and especially based off songs, all you're doing is wasting time, because when you listen to these in actual music, they're not going to sound like that. So a lot of people find ear training to be so slow because there are mistakes like this that people make, and it's not even their fault because that's how it's being taught, that is literally just wasting your time and making it so much harder than it has to be. Another big mistake that I see people do is in ear training, they're constantly just trying to listen and identify things. And on the surface, that sounds great. Like, isn't that ear training? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Well, the end goal is eventually just to be able to listen to stuff and know what's going on, but you don't want to start there. The first thing that you want to do is you want to start training your ear to hear these intervals or chords by singing them. Singing is the ultimate best way that you can train your ear because it's the true test if you really know how those intervals sound. So if you know what a 1 to a 6 sounds like, you should be able to sing it right away. If you know what a 1 to 7 sounds like, you should be able to sing it, and so on. So if you can sing these intervals, then you'll know what intervals they are when you listen back to them. One of the most fundamental things and best way to train your ears through singing, so this is something that you want to do really, really often. Singing scales, singing melodies, singing chords as you play them, arpeggiating chords, doing all these different exercises to really train your ear, and the majority of it comes back to singing. And something that's really helpful too is when you're listening to music, if you're not sure what an interval or a chord is, you could sing that, and that will help you figure it out. But singing is really what you should be doing constantly. And don't worry, if you are a bad singer, if you don't think you're a good singer, it doesn't matter. I am an awful singer. You do not want to listen to me sing, but what I have is functional singing, and that's all you need. Functional singing is just being able to match pitches and sing them. Okay? Aesthetic singing is like professional singing, when the tone and everything actually sounds incredible, it's perfectly in tune, and if you can do that, that is amazing, but to train your ear, you do not need to have an aesthetic voice, you just need to be able to sing to have functional singing. Thank goodness for me, because if you had to have an aesthetic voice, I would not have a trained ear, all right? But all you need is functional singing. That is the absolute best way to train your ear. Another reason why ear training isn't hard, or why people make it so much more difficult on themselves, is inconsistent practicing. If you are not practicing on a consistent level, where 10 to 15 minutes a day, or 20 minutes a day, or even just 5 minutes a day, you are going to be so much better off than practicing 30 minutes or an hour one day a week. Because the thing here is consistency. You are trying to put into your long-term memory how intervals and different things sound, and this needs to be done often. Now, if you do an hour every day, that's amazing. You're going to learn a lot faster than 5 minutes a day. But if you just do it once or twice a week, then your progress is going to be insanely slow. And I want to make something very clear here, is what I'm not saying is that ear training is easy. And if you just practice this way for a month or two, you'll be able to have a trained ear no problem. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that ear training is extremely easy to develop. All I'm saying is that people make it way harder on themselves than they need to. Ear training is very simple. As long as you have a path to follow, you have proven exercises that work, and you just do them consistently, it is guaranteed that you're going to have a highly trained ear. The things that you just need in place is to know the exercises that work, and to know what your practice schedule is going to be, and to be consistent with it. Now, if you would like to go deeper into knowing exactly what exercises work, how to do them, how to make sure that you're training your ear in application to listen to actual real music, to be able to learn songs by ear, know notes before you play them, be able to play in your head, and do every awesome skill that ear training gives you, I have a new ear training course out that goes completely in-depth on this. You can go check it out at eartrainingforguitar.com and check that out. If you really want a trained ear and you're serious about this, then that course is going to be absolutely perfect for you. But these are just some of my tips on why ear training doesn't have to be as hard as most people think it is, that it's just a simple process to follow. So if you found this video helpful, tell me in the comments what you thought about this video. Was there anything that was surprising to you? Were there some things that you already know? Leave a comment below, and I will see you in the next video.